am Dr. Carmen Morrison, psychologist, brain coach, and Alli founder.
I'm Drew Morrison. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am also a coach and co-founder at Alli.
And we share a last name because we hang out a lot together because we just happen to be related.
We do.
You're my son.
She's my mom.
All right. And we have a lot of fun thinking together about these topics for ourselves, for our families, but also bringing things to you that are useful in helping you with the places that you get stuck to find doable ways of getting unstuck that are based in neuroscience and that work. And so that's really what our passion is here today. Yep. Now, we were just sitting here talking off camera about hobbies.
Right.
And we said, oh my goodness, let's just record that. And so we pushed the record button. We just want to share with you some of our thinking about that. So Drew, you actually brought that up, that you hear that from a lot of the people that you coach about how difficult it is for them, or they just don't feel like they have any hobbies, or they don't even know what to try, and so they just default to video games or social media, which they don't really want to do. And so, like, how has that come up for you? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think where that conversation typically starts with people is kind of when stress gets big or emotions even get big. I call them like intersection moments where we just have a lot of things coming at us at the same time, and it's just heavy or hard, right? And how to be able to cope with that, and we know from the brain science that it's really important to be able to be creative and to be able to have an outlet that is not super logical, right? Like that's the left part of our brain. Creativity is the right part of our brain, and oftentimes we heavily use the logical part because of our jobs. Jobs typically, it's a big one, right? And our right brain goes underutilized, and to be able to have an integrated hemispheres of our brain is really important.
Well, let's just talk about that for a minute, because that really is huge. So we have these two hemispheres of the brain. So we have the left and the right, and they have the same structures and the same functions, but they approach those functions differently. And the way that we process information and kind of integrate that, which just means pull it into a whole, is that we experience it first. That's the right side of the brain. Then we make sense of it and organize it with the logic in the left side of the brain. The right side of the brain, that creative part, really comes from being able to just experience something, having that raw sensory data of what something feels like to do. Right. And when we do activities that build that sensory connection, that strengthens our ability to connect experience and then think about that and pulls that in. It also has another function in the brain, which is that it is renewing and rebuilding. And so it's not an escape from stress, but it gives us a counterpoint to stress. So it's like, stress is here, but I can do crocheting. We both like to crochet. And I was doing that last night. And we know that the rhythmic action of something like crocheting or dancing, I'm thinking more ballet kinds of things, but anything that's rhythmic, drumming, woodworking,
yeah, absolutely.
Any of those things also have, in addition to the creative right brain side, it also has a very calming, soothing effect on the stress system in our brain. And so having those kinds of hobbies that renew, that connect us with experience and creativity and have that soothing effect for us are really important things to have in our life toolkit.
Yeah.
So what are the things that you hear getting in the way of people having hobbies?
I think one of the top ones that I hear is often kind of something that is felt in other areas of the life already. So fear of failure. That I will put effort into something and that I will not do it well.
I'll try it and be bad at it. Yeah.
Right. And
then I'll feel stupid.
Correct. It's the meaning around what failure is, right? And Thomas Edison tried to do the light bulb many times, and failed many times, and then got it right? Failure is actually a really integral part of success. But when we have a lot of meaning around what failure is, that
can't tolerate it.
It's a huge obstacle when we actually actually want to be successful or try something new, right? And so I think that's a really important part of when we're trying a new hobby or when we're trying to find an outlet. Sometimes we have to sit and address what failure means to us as well,
because that'll get in the way of us even trying things.
Absolutely.
And so the first step, if that describes you at all, the first step is being able to go back and think about whether you were encouraged to try things as a child, whether you were given support. So as we were just talking about that, I was talking about all these, I was just always wanting to try something. So I would be in somebody's house and I would see some craft thing that they had done. I mean, I learned to crochet because I was at somebody's house and they were making granny squares, and I went, oh, how do you do that? But then when I went to my parents and said I want to do that, they supported me. They went out and we bought crochet hooks and we bought yarn, and off I went, and that's how I learned how to crochet. And so if you've had that kind of encouragement, you probably don't find it difficult to have hobbies or for yourself. But if that wasn't a place that, if somebody didn't encourage you to try things and to try a lot of different things to find out what you liked, then when you get to wanting to do that for yourself, it's just sort of like this black hole. I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what to try, and I'm actually afraid to try because it feels like if I do, it could be really an unpleasant experience.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to do.
Right.
And so being able to overcome that, right, to be able to sit with that and to think through that, maybe even rework some of the meaning around failure, to be able to get to the place where you can try something, right? Which is very doable. It is a really doable thing, but can be hard too.
Hey, one of the things that comes to mind that could help us with that is to watch a child, like watch a 2 or 3 year old child for watch them play, and they just try things. I happen to have a 3-year-old granddaughter at the moment, and she just, anything I'm doing, she's like, Grams, can I do that too? And she just wants to try it. And when children are little, they don't know, they don't worry about failure. They just try things, and we lose that, especially if we've had messages that we can't do something, or it's going to be hard, or there wasn't support to try things. We weren't encouraged to do that. So being able to try things without judgment. Right? To be able to just say, I'm just going to do this for the experience. I'm going to take dancing lessons because I just have always thought it sounded like interesting. I might end up hating it. Doesn't matter. That's okay. I'm just going to try it. I always wanted to play sports, just always. But I am not a natural athlete by any stretch of the imagination. I had a body that just, arms went one direction, legs went another direction. But I wanted to play in such a big way. And I worked and I worked and I worked to play basketball. And my dad went out and spent time with me learning, just trying to dribble a ball and catch a ball. And I finally, after 3 tries, I finally made the basketball team. And so I was never great. I was a bench warmer. And I was a very good bench warmer. I was a really good encouragement to my team and a good team player. The seat was very warm, though. But for me, that's not a feeling of failure. That's actually a feeling of success, because I worked and I worked and I got good enough to make the team. And I feel really good about that. And I have really good memories, positive memories. And we can talk about this in another video, but that's also a really important way, if we're parents, on how to build our children's self-confidence, is to let them try, even if it doesn't go perfectly, to still encourage them to try and be with them when they don't try. We should do another one on that. But when it comes to this thing of hobbies, that first of all, I guess what we're saying is, first of all, let's identify the things that make us afraid of trying something new and address that, and then to just go into an exploratory mode. Be like a child who goes into a new room and just touches everything and picks up everything and feels it. And if you hate it, don't keep doing it. No big deal. And if you like anything about it, then you might want to keep trying and working at that to become as good as you want to be at that. And
if I could jump in right there too, because what you're saying there, I think, intersects really beautifully with something we talk about really frequently, which is being in relationship with others. And what I heard you saying there was, especially if we have meaning around failure and what that means, and that that's a scary thing, or there's there's fear there, right? That what do we do now? You know, I think it's a practical question. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And being able to find somebody who is secure, who is safe, who is supportive. There's 3 really good S's right there, right? To do that with, right? Like, hey, can you do this with me? Because that is what's going to help you rewire that fear place. Yeah,
because then you're going to have fun, even if you're not great at it. It doesn't even matter, because you're going to have fun doing it with somebody that you care about and who cares about you. So that's a great point. So that's 3 points that we gave of working with where the fear of trying things comes from, and then just exploring, not because you need to be good at something, but because you just want the experience of it. And the third thing is to not do it alone, but to do it with somebody. And so, you know, as we're doing those kinds of things, all these things we're talking about are all about rewiring the way we've learned something. So if you'd like more help with that, we have some links down below. One of the courses we do is the Ultimate Brain Reset course, where we coach you through step by step on how to rewire any one pathway. This one might be one for you. And we also have brain coaches to help encourage you and walk you through some steps to get from stuck to unstuck, which is what we're all about here at Alli. So make sure you check those out. Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe to us so that you get notifications of more tips on how to bring neuroscience, how to work with your brain so that you can live an unstuck life.
Sounds good.
So,
Sounds good to me.
So we will see you on the next video.